Go.
Okay, hi everyone. You should be able to see the equipment software up here in your left corner. It says Juggle Equipment. That's how you know you should be on the correct page. I'm going to go through the different tab sections here on the left. And at the end, we'll take questions, like Kim said, about them all. I'm going to start with settings. The Juggle Equipment software enables you to have unlimited users, there's unlimited space for inventory, unlimited space for all your teams from your school, and unlimited rosters. When it comes to a user, I am, whoops, that's my fault, excuse me. Every user will have a profile. When we set this up for a school, I will set up the first few, yourselves as athletic directors, equipment managers, admins at the school will get set up as an admin. You can also have, and that means you'll have full capability to use the entire system. If you'd like coaches to be involved, they can be set up as a non-admin. And here on the right, you'll see where it says edit permission. You can edit what they can or can't do. You can edit which teams they would be able to see. Like if I unlock this and they were the JV boys basketball coach, and that's the only team you'd want them to see rosters and inventory from, and be able to issue and return that inventory, then we could set that up that way. If there's somebody within your, say you don't want the coach to set up the inventory or do anything with the inventory after it's added into the system, you can take and with the inventory, change that to view only, but yet still give them permission to assign and edit equipment, rosters, reports, etc. So it's very the settings area with the users, with what name you would like the team to be identified under. Also, there are ways to add when you'll see the inventory area and the athletes' profiles. You can add fields to those areas, separate columns if you need to, for certain information you want to keep well when it comes to the piece of equipment or a particular player or a particular athlete. So that's our settings area. I'm going to go into the inventory area. First, I'm going to put this on varsity football. So I'm going to filter first what sport I'd like that to show, and then what we are going to do when it comes to the actual how the inventory is going to be entered into the system initially is by the use of Excel spreadsheets. I'm going to open up the standard spreadsheet just so you can see one. All three, the one for helmets and the one for jerseys, they'll have a few other pieces of information here besides these columns. You can also, like I said, with the settings, you can add columns if you need to, and we can set that up when a school comes aboard. These are questions that I'm asking. Column A is for barcoding. Every piece of equipment will be that you put into the system will be identified by a barcode number. The system can be used when it comes, for barcoding and scan with a scanner. And if you put barcodes on your helmets, shoulder pads, we also suggest a company that's located in Kansas City that has barcodes for jerseys. So it's really sort of up to you on which what you want to do with that, or it can just be that, you know, you can use the system without it. And if you use the system without it, then you're basically you'll just see the barcode number. And I'm going to go through how you would use it without it here as I move along. I am there. Sorry. I just wanted to get back into the system itself. So once that spreadsheet is complete, you're going to make sure that you've selected the sport. You're going to make sure that you're going to choose the file out of your computer, and then you're going to hit import. And once you hit import, a screen will come up with all the information that was on the spreadsheet. And once that happens, then you'll get to look at it one more time. You can make edits to it if you need to, and then you'll hit save. And once you hit save, then it will be transferred over into the inventory area, and it will look like this, where there are columns associated with, you know, a line item with every piece of inventory that was transferred over. Within these pieces of within these line items, you can see that you're able to choose different columns. You can make a column not appear. So if I wanted to, I don't have to have the size type here. And if, as you notice, I did that, it disappeared. And then with each line item, each piece of inventory that you entered, you are able then to open this up, and all that inventory will appear. And then you can go in here one by one if you need to and make edits. You know, you've got here for these Speed Gold helmets, you've got a refurbish area. We added a COVID check area. Comments are blank. So if I wanted to add something to one of those blank columns, I would click on the box, hit the edit icon, and a new box pops up, and you can then add any information that you'd like to into these blank columns, or change anything that's already in here that you put in here when you initially made the inventory, when you transferred the inventory over from those spreadsheets. So again, everything is flexible, and you can, again, we can make, if you needed a column here for a helmet that you don't see, we could add that, and it would, it's just a matter of setting it up that way when I create the site for a school. Next, we're going to go into rosters. Rosters, as Kim mentioned, can be entered two ways. One, if you're using AT&T registration, once you've built that roster in registration, you're just basically following these steps. You're selecting the sport. We're just going to say that's varsity football. And then once you've done that, you're going back to registration. There's an option there that says click download for inventory, which will download a spreadsheet of the roster. And then you're uploading that spreadsheet, downloaded for registration. And so it's 4 easy steps to get from registration, get that roster from registration here into the equipment software. If you're not using AT&T registration, then there is a template, and it's basically all the fields that are in registration, in our registration software, and you're filling them out, and you're putting them, filling them out. And then once that's filled out, once that template is filled out, you're saving it to your computer, finding it in your file, and you're uploading. And so it's very easy each way, but obviously if the parents are able to, during your registration process, you're using our registration software, they're going to take one step out of the process for you by, with the registrations that you're gathering for that team. Once in the once we've got them uploaded, the roster then would look like this. Obviously here this is our test, one of my test sites. I'm the only football player in here right now. But if you had a team of 50 football players and you needed to find one to go into that player's, that athlete's profile, you can search by last name, type in the player's last name, and you'll find, you can filter it that way to make it a little bit quicker to find that player. Once you find that player, the profile then looks like this. This is all the information that you've gathered either from either option that you've uploaded the roster into the system. Again, name, grad year, class, email address. If you don't add any information, or you don't use, if you didn't put the jersey number in there, either way you're uploading the information, or the position of the player, or his helmet size, any column will just stay blank, and then you can add to it if you need to, or if you'd like to. One other thing about this is, you see this, I'm a senior and it's last year's grad year right now. But if you had, let's say I was a sophomore at your school, and that's the 2023, I believe, right now, grad year, July 1st or around that date, we run a system update and transfer all players up one grade level. So the sophomores then become juniors at that point. So you're not going back in and doing that with hundreds of athletes, with going into each profile. The seniors also then just get archived. There's an archive section, and that archive section will, you can delete players out of that. You can keep them in there. It's unlimited space. Again, you can keep them in there as long as you'd like. The other part of the equipment, or another part of the profile, is there's an equipment history. And the top part here will show you what is still issued and has not been returned. Any piece of equipment that has not been returned will show up here. And then down here at the bottom, it will show the entire history of all issues and returned, who issued them, the date that they've been issued. Some of the returns where you'll see can be done in a few different ways, and it will show you how they were returned. And then the name of the item, relevant information, size, and the barcode number will also appear. So that's rosters, the two different sections in rosters, where it will be the athlete's information and then the equipment history. Next, we'll just go into how to issue and return equipment. Issuing it, this is very, very simple. It's equipment issue day at your school. You probably have some type of line or something of athletes. You probably have, if you'd be using our software, you've got a coach or yourself. They're sitting down at a table. I come up to the table, and you're going to find me in that list of 40 or 50 athletes. You're going to, again, you could search by name, you could search by student ID number. The first thing you're going to do is, once you find me, you're going to click on the box right here, so we know that this is the athlete that's getting issued equipment to. Then below that line of players will be all of the equipment that could be issued to that player. So we're just going to go into here as an example then, and I'm going to get issued a SpeedFlex white helmet, and I'm going to, it's this one, let's just say, I'm going to click on that, and then I'm also going to get issued a Nike practice jersey, and I am and we're going to go into here out of one of these right here, out of one of these large ones, and I'm going to get one of those. And whenever you're done adding or issuing all the equipment, then you're going to go down to the bottom, and you're going to click the issue box. But before that, if you were using barcodes on certain items, all you would have to do if it was a barcoded item that you were going to use and use a scanner with, all you would do is make this box live and then scan those items. So the first two items I picked, those were manual entries, manual issues. If you were using the barcode system, then you're just here and it will take unlimited scans. You're not doing it over and over and over again. It's just, one by one you're scanning. And then when all that is done, you're going to hit issue. And when you hit that issue button, this box pops up, shows the name of the athlete and all the issued items. And then we would confirm you've handed that over now to Matt, and you're going to confirm the issue. And once it downloads that, you see this green box pops up. It says all items issued successfully. You know those pieces of inventory have been taken out of the inventory, those line items, and moved over to the athlete that was getting them issued to, and they would appear in that equipment tab in the athlete's profile. Returning equipment, even simpler. The easiest way to do this is, again, you'd have your list of players, you'd filter that out, you'd click on the box here next to the person's name, and you go over to this last box where it says returned item. And then from there, all the items that the player has been issued would pop up and be listed right here. And so I'm going to just say that there are these two items were listed, because I'm going to show you two reports before we're done here. And so I need to have something that was not returned to show you them. But we'll just say that these are the two items out of the three that were issued to me that I'm returning today. And I'm basically just clicking on the box. I'm hitting return. This box pops up as you could be, and these are just one quantity items, but if you were issuing knee pads to a player, you might give them 4 or 2, and then this will let you track how many of those that you were going to get returned from the player. Okay, and then once that shows up again, you've got my name here, and then you're hitting confirm return, and again seeing that green box pops up. What you know now is that inventory that was in the player's profile and the player was issued has now been put back into inventory. And that's it. That's as quick as you can do an equipment issue and equipment return. Very simple. Lastly, then we'll open it up for questions. There are numerous reports in here. When I talk to athletic directors and even coaches about what reports they use the most, it's an issue report and a return report. When we also, just so you know, once a school comes on board with us, I will give them, I have a big Word document on a definition for each one of these reports on what you would use them for, what they would be able to show you in the report. But I'm just going to jump into the issue and the return report before we open it up for questions. So an issue report, a lot of schools use this where they will find the athlete's name. Let's say now it is the day after you've issued that equipment. You run this report and it looks like this, and it will have the player's name. All that issued equipment would be shown right here that you'd issued the day before. And then if you'd like, you can print or email this to anybody that you need to. And when it comes to this area right here, it can be customized. So you could literally send this report to, Matt's parents via an email and have the message be, your child has been issued this school property, as he's playing football. Right after the season's over with, we will hold a return day return equipment day, and we'd like all that information, all that equipment back. I've also seen schools print this report, and when they print the report, they will print the report and have the student athlete sign it. Maybe the parent signs it. It could all be based on school policy, but there's an option to do that. And then also going back to the emails, the email address that's in the player's profile would pop up here if you have one, and you can comment, space, and add as many emails as you need to when it comes to sending this report to anybody. Somebody that deals with your school accounts, in the main office, your athletic secretary to keep track of these. You can send it to anybody you want. Last report, and then we'll open it up for questions, is the return report. So now it's, excuse me, now it is the day after the student athletes brought back all their equipment to have them returned. And this is why I left out not returning that helmet. So we're going to go into my profile again here, or we're going to run the report for me. And this helmet right here is what's not been returned. And if you put a cost in when you're adding the helmets into, or you're adding your equipment in, it will show up here. It will show the sport it was issued through, and then it will show all of the inventory that was issued. And then down here again, you can customize this message, print it out, make the athlete sign it, make mom or dad sign it, that we're missing this piece of equipment and we need it returned by such and such day. And if not, here's the consequence. You can send it that way to a parent. You print it out as a hard copy, or you could also email that report to anybody that needs to see this. So those are the two most popular reports that when I talk to the ADs that are using this, within our clients, these are the two that are using the most. You can also print out, there is a team report, so you can pick the team, and then you can see a list of everybody on the team who hasn't returned equipment. And it might be as handy as the other two, where you might just go from athlete to athlete and find them in the halls and say, when are you returning your equipment? And, the work that you don't want to have to do, but sometimes is necessary to do to get that helmet back or that jersey back, whatever pieces of inventory they may be missing or haven't returned yet. So that is a overview of the equipment software. Kim, do you want to open back up up for questions and so forth?
Yep. Let me stop. Can you do the stop share real quick?
I can. Okay.
All right. So does anybody have any questions that they want to ask of Matt? So there is a question from Michelle. Were we able to create a profile of what equipment we issued the coaches? So eight balls to the basketball team. So yes.
Yeah, great question, Michelle. So what we would do is, when it comes to pieces of equipment that are not issued to athletes, like your example of the 8 basketballs, we would make a miscellaneous area for all those pieces of equipment. And it could be miscellaneous basketball, miscellaneous football. And then we would make a coach roster. And so the coaches for basketball would say, that would be a roster that we would add, and it would have your, how many coaches you have on staff. And you can then issue those basketballs to that particular coach. So yes, I've set that up before for schools. And yeah, that is just something when we get to that point of you telling me what, an athletic director, an athletic admin telling me what they need. We certainly can set that up, and the system has those capabilities. You're welcome.
Any other questions or Comments? So one of the things that, as we're showing you, obviously, thinking through, even, today, you might have things that you might need to manage from an inventory. And it can be uniforms, it can be equipment. We had somebody even ask if they could manage things like Chromebooks for the school, anything where you have an inventory and you're checking things and checking out. You can be creative with that, right, Matt? I mean, it's not a roster per se, but if you're handing out certain things to kids, you can create a roster for that. So things that you might even do on an activity site or anything like that, it can be used for. So just think about that. If there's any in particular questions, or if you want to take a run through it with Matt individually about your particular school needs, you can reach out to Matt. And then let's see, there's a couple of other questions, so excuse me. Is the software compatible with Google? Not sure what that means, Matt. Do you, as far as
Sherry, I think you're asking if the Chromebooks, Google's with the Chromebooks and so forth, if the Chrome operating system would work with the system with the software, and that answer is yes. Actually, I'm on a Chromebook right now, and it works perfectly. Stanley, when it comes to each coach having a login, I don't know which school you're with, but if your school already has the software and you're here, then that would be then we would have every person that's able for that school's system or software. Every person associated with that site would have their own login and be able to log into the system, and then use the system based on the permissions and credentials they were given. Hope that answers your questions.
Great.
You're welcome, Stanley.
So I'm going to answer Michelle's question. So it's not automatically included. There is an upcharge for the software. If you're interested in this, you know what? Let's reach out to Matt, and I'm just going to put Matt's email in here, and he can talk you through that. It's an add-on, and it takes Matt less than 24 hours to get them up.
Yes.
So you could be up and running within a day if you wanted to take advantage of it for this particular school year. If for some reason you did want to do something for the rest of this school year, we'd be happy to prorate this, work out something with you, and then have it go into next year's budget for you and your annual billing cycle. That is not a problem.
Thank you, Michelle. Sherry, with your question about the manual, when we were setting this up with your school, I did send over a manual. I will resend it with the coach's credentials.
Michelle, spread the word. I love your comment.
Yeah. Thank you, Michelle.
That is great. Thank you. And if you have one or two helmets that somehow disappear in a year, I mean, it's going to pay for itself very, very quickly, and save you mounds of, spreadsheets and however else you might be tracking this, or coaches tracking it, and having that headache for manual labor there.
Thank you, Sherry. Yes, and just to go back to and on Kim's point, you can use this software on any device. It will work on your phone. It will work on a laptop, desktop, and any type of tablet. So what you saw with all the features are functional no matter what device you're using this on.
Yep.
Thank you, Virginia.
Okay, if there isn't any other questions or feedback or anything else you need from us, we'll go ahead and send a confirmation to all of you who are on the phone, who are on the webinar. We do appreciate you taking time. One of the things, if you can share this amongst your groups, anybody else who might be interested in this, this is being recorded, so we can share this as well. But if there's any feedback, I think I did share Matt's email in here. Give him a call and let's see what we can do to help you going forward. So I'm going to just ask again, see if there's any other questions for Matt or A218. And if not, I'll give you guys some time back in your day. I know you guys are all busy with spring sports now. Okay, well, I'm going to go there. So thank you guys again for your time. We do appreciate it. And hopefully we'll talk to some of you very soon.
Thanks again, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to shut the meeting down, Matt.
Okay. All right.